It's time for Media Meltdowns, and woke Hollywood celebrity George Clooney, the one who called on the Democrats to kick and push Joe Biden right out of the race, now says that when he did that, he didn't want Kamala Harris to take over. In fact, that was a big mistake.
We had a chance. I wanted there to be, as I wrote in the op-ed, a primary. Let's battle test this quickly and get it up and going. I think the mistake with it being Kamala is that she had to run against her own record, and it's very hard to do if the point of running is to say I'm not that person. You know, it's hard to do, and so she was given a very tough task. I think it was a mistake, quite honestly, but we are where we are.
Look at him dancing around the issue, labelling it a mistake. It's certainly not a great endorsement for the former vice president, who is certainly eyeing off another crack at the presidency. Earlier this year, you'd remember Hunter Biden, who was freshly pardoned by his dad, not the auto pen, had this to say about George Clooney.
Him, and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. You, what do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years.
And it seems as though the two haven't patched things up. George Clooney has called Hunter Biden a liar.
Did you see Hunter Biden's reaction?
Yeah, I saw it.
What did you make of it?
Well, I could spend a lot of time debunking many of the things he said, because many of the things he said were just outright lies. You know, Obama didn't put me up to it. It wasn't my fundraiser. It was my fundraiser. All the things. But the reality is, I don't think looking backwards like that is helpful to anyone, particularly to him. I don't think it's helpful for the Democratic Party. And so I'm just going to wish him well on his ongoing recovery, and I hope he does well, and just leave it at that. I have many personal opinions about it, but I don't find it to be helpful to have a public spat with him. So.
Which leftist media outlet has the most severe case of Trump derangement syndrome? Is it the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN? Well, it might just be the BBC, because it's been revealed the BBC doctored Donald Trump's January 6th speech to make it appear as though he was encouraging his supporters to riot in the Capitol. A leaked 19-page dossier obtained by The Telegraph found the documentary, Trump: A Second Chance, misled viewers by editing clips of Donald Trump's speech to make it seem like he incited the riot at the US Capitol. Look at this.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Yeah, British taxpayers funding fake news there. But let's take a look at what's being shown on American media outlets. And it hasn't been a good week for The View's Whoopi Goldberg. After lying about Donald Trump using an auto pen, which he didn't because he's not Joe Biden, Whoopi was subtly and politely fact-checked on air by co-host Sunny Hostin. And how did Whoopi take it? Well, let's take a look, starting with her original comments.
The Trump family has made about $1.8 billion profited off of this government. And he said that Joe Biden didn't know who he was pardoning using an auto pen. How come he don't know who this guy is?
Because he used an auto pen. Meetings with the judge, the meetings that they're supposed to go to when they're listening to what the hell, what?
I love when Sonny passes notes.
We don't know if Trump used an auto pen to part. It was a joke.
Yeah. We don't know if Trump used an auto auto pen.
Oh, come on.
But we do know that he didn't know who that crypto guy was.
Well, I'm sorry. You know, the hardest thing about this job now is no one understands nuance. You know when you hear a joke, when somebody's fooling around, when they're not saying something specific, especially on this show. I'm very specific when I'm pointing stuff out. When I'm making jokes, you know when I'm making jokes. This is ridiculous. Anywho, the other thing that really upsets me about all of this.
Look at her crushing out. I mean, the hardest part of her job is that no one understands nuance. I think it might be for Whoopi getting her facts correct, or at least clarifying that she's made a mistake. No, Whoopi is a comedian making jokes non-stop on that show, apparently. Also this week, President Trump returned to 60 Minutes, where the president reminded host Norah O'Donnell that CBS News had to pay Donald Trump a lot of money over the previous interview with Kamala Harris, where they edited that interview to make her sound better than she actually was. But during this interview, the president spoke about his crime crackdown, particularly in DC, and he challenged the journalist who lives in DC to be honest about whether the streets are safer.
Well, you tell me, how big a difference is D.C. now compared to what it was a year ago, right? I mean, you have to be honest with me. People walk,
It's not
people
denying
in the
it.
White House, they walk up to me, young ladies I've never seen, sir, thank you very much. I know, they don't even have to tell me what they're thanking me for. But when I ask why, he said, one girl said, I'd get into Uber, and I felt dangerous even in Uber. They'd attack the car, okay? It wasn't even safe then. Sir, I now walk to work every day, and I'm so safe. There's nothing going to happen, 100% safe. And you know that too, Nora.
I want to ask you about
You
this.
live here, you know that too.
I want to ask you about
Do you see a difference?
American
Do you
cities.
see a difference?
In Washington, D.C.?
Yes.
I think I've been working too hard. I haven't been out and about.
Oh, that's not a fair answer. You see a difference.
I get in my car and go
That's
to
a
work
good
and I go
answer.
home.
You don't have to use that one. Don't worry. Don't worry. I don't want to embarrass
I've been
her.
working too hard.
It's like, you know what the
Yeah.
difference is? Like day and night.